Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about toxic dental stories. So if you are wanting to be a dental assistant, please watch this video before you make the decision of being a dental assistant. So as we all know, each job comes with pros and cons, and some of them come with a lot of cons. So today we're going to be exposing the dental offices. We're going to be talking about scandals, cheaters, liars, manipulators, bullies, and the list goes on. So let's begin. If you see me looking down on my phone, that's because I have a whole list of things I would like to talk about today. So the first story I'm going to be talking to you about, it's going to be called the bone graft disaster. So as soon as I graduated from dental assisting school, I worked at an extern office where the office manager was 21. So as we all know, when you're in dental school, they let you know to not throw away the bone graft. So we were in a oral surgery procedure. We were extracting 31, and for some reason we were going to place bone graft on the patient's mouth. I'm sure it's because of cha-ching. They sold bone graft to a patient extracting 31. Let that process your head. And as soon as we were done with the procedure, we started cleaning up, but the manager called me over to another room to go take x-rays to a little kid. So once I was done taking the x-rays, the manager comes up to me and she says, "Where is the bone graft?" And I was like, "What do you mean? I don't know where the bone graft is." And she said, "You threw the bone graft away." And I said, "I didn't throw the bone graft away. You can't accuse me of throwing the bone graft away. There was 3 other girls also in there." And she was like, "Well, everybody's saying it's you." And I was like, "You called me over to take x-rays. All I did was remove barriers. You can't just assume." And she was like, "Well, you got a trash dig for the bone graft." And I was like, okay, so everybody trash digged for the bone graft. The bone graft was not found. We don't know what happened to the bone graft. That is story number 1. They will accuse you, and don't let them accuse you. Stand up for yourself and stand your ground. Number 2, oh my gosh, this story, I'm gonna call it the abusive papoose. This story is very intense. So some dental offices, pedo offices, use papoose still. A papoose is when they tie the kids still and they perform dental treatment on them. In this case, there was no laughing gas, there was no sleepy juice. So we had to get the papoose, and I remember like tying the kid down, and I felt so uncomfortable. Either way, it goes through their parents, so their parents are aware that they're going to get tied down. The parents do go outside and get dismissed and just wait patiently in the waiting room. In this case, oh my goodness, so the kid was not cooperating. He was yelling his lungs out and he did not want to get no treatment done. And all I remember is the doctor slapping the kid, the little boy. He was about 7 years old, and he was like, "Stop crying." And I was completely shook. I was 2 weeks into this externing position. I look up and the girl, the other assistant, slaps the doctor and says, "You don't hit kids." And she walks out and she tells the parents about the incident. And this story was just like, it affected our office that day. He got really bothered. He canceled the patients, and we still stayed in. So that day, he lost her as an assistant, and he also lost me as an assistant. So let me tell you why he lost me. That's the second story. If they abuse kids, you gotta go. Go let OSHA, was it OSHA? Go call human resources, because that's not right. They shouldn't be abusing kids. Like, some of these doctors think that they could do whatever they want, and you cannot. You gotta stand your ground. So as I was saying, I was done with the office. So at the end of the day, which was that day, I was picking up, I was sweeping, I was mopping, and it was time to throw the trash out. So I grabbed trash from every single room and I go to the front and I ask her, are you done with the trash? And so I could throw it away. And she said, does it look like I'm done with the trash? And I don't know if she was being like sarcastic. I was confused. And I was like, does that mean I could throw it away? And she was like, I'll let you know when you can throw the trash away. And I was like, okay, well, it's gonna be 5:30 already and we're gonna leave soon and I do want to throw the trash out, so I'll be back in like 5 minutes to ask you again. And she said, okay. So then when I come back, I ask her, can I throw your trash out now? And she was just like, you know what? No, I'm not done. Go home. And I was like, what the heck? What did I do? All I'm trying to do is help you out and throw the trash out. And I'm like, okay. And she responds, yeah, do us all a favor and go home. And in that moment, I wanted to cry so badly. I felt so hurt. And I remember like walking out the door. I didn't throw the trash out, but I remember walking out the door and completely like eyeballing out and just like, I wanted to quit dental assisting. I got a really bad office. They were bullying me, and there's little tiny stories here and there, but these are some of the major stories that happened in this dental office. So if you're bullying somebody, or if someone's bullying you, stand up. It's not right to get bullied in your work environment. We already have things going on in our like home, so for us to get bullied in our work environment is completely wrong. Okay. So then we're gonna go to story number 4. Oh my goodness, so story number 4, I'm gonna call it the liar. So at this dental office, I wanted to learn the front, so it was a part-time office, and on the days they were open, I was a back office assistant, and the days that they were not open, I was a front office assistant. So I would be like a receptionist. I would send out postcards, and basically I would try to help out the other assistant. But the other assistant did not want me to learn anything at all. Like I'd ask her, do you need help with anything else? And she would be like, oh, just go do things in the back. She didn't want me to grow. I don't understand why. But later on, through like the times, we started getting along as the more we worked together. And one day, like, the manager calls me in and she tells me, you know, I don't need you for the front office anymore. I've been told that you talk too much and that you are disrupting our front office assistant. And I was like, they are talking to me. I'm a quiet person, and if they're gonna talk to me, I'm gonna talk to them. I'm trying to do everything to help out. I didn't say anything. I wanted to say something. I was just like, okay. And later on, I moved on to like full-time position. And oh my gosh, this girl gave me such a hard time. Not just me, but every single new person that came in gave them a hard time, and it was really hard to stand up for ourselves. She would always like throw everything. It was always our fault. Every mistake was our fault. She never took the blame for anything. We were the newbies. So it got to the point where everybody would get like quit because of her, and I still stayed because she was front and I was back, and I didn't really like, I mean, I did see her, but not as much as like sitting in the front. Either way, she got into like a huge argument with one of the back office assistants, and they went at it. So they fired one of the girls because of it. It was such a mess. If you find an office where the front office girl starts the drama, honestly, like, if you can tolerate, then stay. But if you can't tolerate, just leave. It's not worth it. Like, some of the girls think that they could manage the whole office. They could control you and control everything in there, and that's not right. Like, it's a teamwork. It's all team effort. She threw me and my best friend once under the bus. She like lied and said that we were doing X and O, and we stood up for each other and we're like, no, that's not true. Either way, that's a liar. You might find yourself a liar at the dental office. Okay, story number 5. Oh my gosh, like just thinking about it, just like wow. Okay, so this is like the cheater. So the doctor I used to work for had a wife and a family, and I remember assisting him always. Super great doctor. And you know, I was like 19, 18 years old. Yeah, 19 years old. And I remember like walking in the patient and be like, hi, how are you today? Oh, good, good. How are you? Where's the doctor? She said. And she was like an elderly girl. And as soon as like, I'm like, oh, can you have a seat right here? She like, the doctor walks out and then like they kissed, and I walked away because I could not understand why he had kissed a patient. It was very confusing. After that, I then asked him like, why are you kissing a patient? That's not right. And he said, mind your own business. You don't know what you're talking about. Either way, mind your own business. If anything like that happens, just, you saw nothing. There's a lot of things and you saw nothing. It's not your life. You saw nothing. So that was the cheater one. He also was apparently with assistants, and it was an interesting office because he was cool. He is cool. He was cool, but I'm gonna stop there. Okay. Okay, so number 7, it is a very sexual interview. So I went to, what, number 7, sorry. Number 6, it is a very sexual interview. So I was looking for dental offices and I came across this office 5 minutes away from my home. And I went to this interview, and as soon as I got there, the doctor was like, hi, nice to meet you. He shook my hand and then he took me out to eat and questioned me. And then as soon as we go back inside to the office, he closes the door and he was like, so you have a beautiful name. He just like touched me, my hand like this, but it's too long. Do you have any other shorter names so I could yell at you better? And I felt so uncomfortable. Like, I'm here to get a job so I can provide for my daughter and provide for myself. I'm not here to get yelled at or get emotionally, physically drained from my job. So I remember like I just shook his hand and I was like, you know what, thank you. Thank you for this job position and thank you for considering me, but I'm no longer interested. And I just like walked away. If you see that red flag, as soon as like the first interview hits, just go. You have to go. It's not worth it because in the long run, they're not going to respect you. You're going to get yelled at. You're going to be drained, and that's not okay. So story number 7, I'm going to call this the hydroxy sign. This story is insane. Like, I was working at this dental office that was a pedo office, ortho office, oral surgery office, everything you could like call it, and it was a really cool office. And they would give the kids sleepy juice, and it was like, it looked like everybody had gotten along. I remember doing sterilization and we were done throughout the day, and I remember the girl telling me, oh, Maggie, you work too hard. Here you go. You want to try some of my Celsius, my energy drink? And I said, yeah, sure. Like, trying to be nice, right? And she put hydroxy, the sleepy juice in my drink. And I started feeling like I was high. It felt exactly like I was high. And I remember like kind of questioning it, but I didn't say anything. And then she came up to me and she's like, how do you feel? And I was like, I feel good. And she's like, oh, are you sure? And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. Why? And she was like, oh, no reason. And that day, like, I had to drive home and my life could have been in danger. I could have been allergic to it. Anything could have happened. And like, that's not right. Like, to just give a new person like this type of sleepy juice when you don't even know them. Like, you could cause harm to them. But yeah, like, that was quite interesting. That's kind of like crazy and scandalous. So then number 8, I don't even know what number I am anymore, but another crazy story is like number 8. Oh yeah, so since I was new at this office, not being a dental assistant, I already knew that dental assisting comes with its pros and cons, and majority of the time it comes with a lot of cons with a lot of girls. And I knew that I was going to possibly have a like a situation where this might occur again, where I don't get along with one of the girls, which I'm completely like aware and I'm understanding of that. So I remember like this girl would be like, hi friend, like let me help you out, and she would help me out, and she was cool. But I remember like the crown went missing, and she was like, Margarita lost the crown, and she blamed me. And I was like so confused because I know you're not supposed to throw the crown away. I remember looking for the crown, and it was in the lavatory, in the trash, and I had not even entered the lavatory. And I was like, damn, like this girl really just lied and said that I threw a crown away. And I didn't say anything because I was terrified. I never stood my ground, but now I do. I do stand my ground now. Yeah, and eventually, like, is it time to go? Oh yeah, I gotta go. Okay, I'm gonna continue this video tomorrow, so if you see me with another outfit, another hairstyle, don't mind me. Bye.